You thought part 1 was something? Wait until you see part 2 of this week's Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can order Ether Drift products there or find a vast number of other great items on their website. Remember, shipping is free in the United States if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles. Just look in the description or comment section below for direct links to their site. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. The market was so hot this week I had to separate the watch into two parts. In part 1, we saw the cold cards numbered 10 through 6 and the hot cards numbered 30 through 16. So go back and check out that video if you missed it. Now though, we're finishing the countdown for both the hot and cold cards. We'll move quickly through the cold cards and spend more time examining why the cards moving up in price are heating up. As always, our lists are based on two pieces of criteria: the percentage change in the value of the cards, as well as the change in the number of sales from week to week. Quickly before we get to it though, just one fast thing. I want to say thank you to one of our gold patrons, and that is Thomas Wright. Thomas, thank you for all your support on Patreon. I truly appreciate it, Thomas. I always say this, but of course I could not do this without viewers like yourself. Thank you again, Thomas, and now, without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin with part 2 of the cold cards. That's the top 5 coldest cards of the week. All but one of our top 10 cold cards this week are from Ether Drift products, which makes sense since lots of packs are being cracked and supply is catching up with demand. But for now, let's look at number 5, Bright Glass Gear Hulk. It's down 607 to 1890 this week for a 24% decrease. Number 4 is Radiant Lotus, down 821 to 1979. That's a 29% decrease. Number 3, Hashitan Scarab's Fist, down $8.91 to $6. That's a 60% decrease. This is the foil copy found in the Ether Drift Eternal Might Commander deck. Number 2, Ketramos the New Dawn, down $11.03 to $54.99. That's a 17% decrease. This is shaping up to be a big modern card and a popular commander, but it spiked aggressively right before Ether Drift was released, so now it's dropping some in price as packs are cracked. And finally, our coldest card of the week was our number 2 hot card last week, Dockside Extortionist. The list copy is down $8.68 to $71.32. That's a 14% decrease. The Double Masters 2022 copy down $23.96 to $48.49. That's a 33% decrease. And the Commander 2019 copy from the Mystic Intellect deck is down $37.65 to $42.34. That's a 47% decrease. Last week, Gavin Verhey discussed generally what Wizards has planned for the regular Commander format, now that they have taken over from the prior Commander Rules Committee. He talked about 5 different power level Commander brackets they are considering for the format, as well as the cards that they refer to as game changers, which will help determine the strength of a deck. He went on to say that potentially they may unban some cards along with the addition of these Commander brackets. And in a shocking turn of events, that's all it took to motivate some players and speculators to pick up copies of cards that they think may become unbanned. Dockside Extortionist was one of the cards that spiked wildly last week. Most of the cards that spiked for that reason continued to go up this week, or at least stayed steady. This one retracted though, as tons of copies hit the marketplace in response to the huge price increase that occurred. Alright, on to our top 15 hottest cards of the week in part 2 of our countdown. Here we go with number 15, Electro Siphon, up $4.42 to $5. That's a 762% increase if you're doing the math at home. This is from the Fallout Science Commander deck with an exclamation point. It's been seeing a little Commander play since it came out in a few builds like Satya Aetherflux Genius for example, but now this is jumping thanks to Ether Drift. Some players are picking up Electro Siphon to upgrade the Ether Drift Living Energy Commander deck, while others are putting in a fresh builds around the front-facing commander from there. Saheeli, Radiant Creator. A week ago, this was number 20 on the hot list. Last week it climbed to the number 6 spot. This week it drops 8 spots to 14. Hordewing Scab, up $4.45 to $19.43. That's a 30% increase. This is from the Innistrad Midnight Hunt Undead Unleashed Commander deck. It has been a popular card for Commander zombie builds, appearing in a few different decks, one of which is Wilhelt the Rock Cleaver, the front-facing commander from its pre-con. It's also in builds around recently reprinted cards like the Scarab God and Grimgrin Corpseborn. This appears in Varina Lich Queen too, but the main reason Hordewing Scab's price is jumping now is because it's a good upgrade to the Eternal Might Commander deck. Players and speculators are scrambling for potential upgrades for the build, and this is one of the cards they've locked in on. I'm also seeing Hordewing Scab and fresh deck lists around a couple cards from the product, the front-facing commander Temet Noctamon's Will, and Hashatan Scarab's Fist. Down one spot this week to number 13, Currency Converter, up 534 to 1780, that is a 43% increase. This is from the Streets of New Capenna Obscura Operation Commander deck. Traditionally, it has only been in a few Commander builds and some 1v1 dual Commander decks. In regular Commander, you might have seen this in Urzalord High Artificer or Flame War Brash Veteran decks. So why is Currency Converter heating up now? Turns out this plays well with a number of cards from Aetherdrift. Some players wanted to upgrade the Eternal Might Commander deck, others wanted for fresh builds around Temet Noctamon's Will and Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Currency Converter is also showing up in Commander builds around a couple cards from the main set. Captain Howler, Sea Scourge, and Ketramos, the New Dawn. Number 12, Verena Lich Queen. The Double Masters 2022 copy goes up 437 to $17.99, that's a 32% increase. And the Commander 2018 Subjective Reality deck foil copy goes up $5.84 to $20.57, that's a 40% increase. This has been a fairly popular Commander, but you can probably guess why it's spiking now. Verena Lich Queen is a great upgrade to the Aetherdrift Eternal Might Commander deck, and many are putting in fresh builds around Temet Noctamon's Will and Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Down 4 spots this week to number 11, Reaver Titan. It goes up 626 to $27.29. That's a 30% increase. This is from the Warhammer 40k Forces of the Imperium Commander deck. It's a harder to find vehicle spiking now because of the vehicle support coming from Aetherdrift. Reaver Titan is in several Commander decks that are getting new tools thanks to that set. One example is Greasefang Okiba Boss. I'm also seeing many players putting this in new Commander builds around a card from Aetherdrift's main set, Koladin Triumph Caster. Up one spot this week to number 10, Astral Dragon, up 639 to $19.98, that's a 47% increase. This is from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Draconic Descent Commander deck. And here's another card that was just seeing a little bit of play until recently. It would appear in Mirim Sentinel Worm Commander decks, or Amanatu the Fate Shifter 1v1 dual Commander decks for example, but now Aetherdrift is pushing this card too. Many players want Astral Dragon to upgrade Eternal Might, while others are picking it up for fresh builds around Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Now Astral Dragon did spike before Tarkir Dragonstorm preview cards hit on Friday, so those didn't have much to do with this jump, but keep a close eye on good dragons and dragon support cards in the coming weeks. Up 10 spots this week to number 9 is Hull Breacher from Commander Legends. It goes up 688 to 1073, that's a 179% increase. First off, this appears in Vintage Jewel Shops, Paradoxical Outcome, Underworld Breach, and Merfolk. Hull Breacher is also a solid card in 1v1 dual Commander where it's found in several decks, including the popular Aragorn King of Gondor builds. However, the reason this is creeping up has nothing to do with the play it's currently seeing. This is banned in Commander, but since Gavin Verhey's announcement, which we discussed earlier, many speculators have been scooping up copies of Hellbreacher in case it were to become unbanned for higher power Commander brackets. This is one of the cards banned in Commander, but not banned in 1v1 dual Commanders, so there is a chance it could happen, but we'll have to wait and see how Wizards manages the ban list. Down 4 spots this week to number 8, Ranger Captain of Eos from Modern Horizons. It's up 1245 to 5845, that's a 27% increase. First off, this is getting a lot of play in Modern. This is now appearing more often in the wildly popular Boros Energy decks, and that's part of the reason for the spike you see here. It also has a presence in Jeskai Energy, which does get a fair amount of play, plus it's in Selesnya Midrange Blank and Naya Energy. Over in 1v1 Dual Commander, Ranger Captain of Eos shows up in Felia Exuberant Shepherd builds, and it appears in several regular Commander decks too. For example, Ranger is often in the Thrashios Triton Hero and Timna the Weaver partner builds. Again though, Aetherdrift is driving this card's price to a degree as well. Lots of players are getting this to upgrade the Eternal Might deck, while others are putting in fresh builds around Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Number 7, Shallow Grave, up 1556 to 6917, that's a 29% increase. Another reserve list card makes our top 30 this week. This one does get some play though. It appears in more than one format, including regular Commander, 1v1 Dual Commander, and Legacy. For example, in Legacy you see Shallow Grave and Reanimator builds, and in Dual Commander it's sometimes in Aminatou the Fate Shifter decks. Number 6, Copy Artifact from Revised, up 1878 to 79.99, that's a 31% increase. The reserve list has come alive this week like Peter Frampton. This one also sees some play. Copy Artifact is in Legacy coveted Jewel combo decks, and it appears in some commander builds too, like Urzalord High Artificer for example. It's been a long journey, but before we get to our top 5, just a fast reminder, this video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can pick up Aether Drift products there, or pick up any number of other great Magic products, or even some unrelated products. They have tons of stuff on their website. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And if you're looking for a direct link to their site, just check out the description or comment section below. I do have links posted in both of those places. And now, without any further ado, let's get to that top 5. Number 5, Replenish, up $19.60 to $114.59. That's a 21% increase. Yet another reserve list card, and another one that has a reason for moving up other than it's on the reserve list. First, this is found in Legacy Standstill. Secondly, it gets some commander play in a few decks. The highest played commander you see this around is Ariette of the Charmed Apple. However, again, it's the pre-modern format that's truly driving this price spike. Replenish is a big part of those Parallax Replenish decks, surprisingly, and they have been performing extremely well in the format. At their heart, they're control decks that animate enchantments with Opalescence. You also see Replenish in other builds there, like Enchantress and Landstill, but that Parallax Replenish deck is the key driver for the price increase this time. Up one spot this week to number 4, Simulacrum Synthesizer. This is up $20.51 to $63.50, that's a 48% increase. Now remember, this is from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction's Big Score subset, so it is a more difficult pull than any card from the main set. It appears in several decks in multiple formats. In Standard, this is in Azorius Artifacts, although Simulacrum Synthesizer is seeing more standard play this week alongside a new card from Aether Drift, Repurposing Bay. This card's worth keeping an eye on, it's even seen some vintage play already. Anyway, back to Simulacrum Synthesizer. Over in Pioneer, it's part of Metalwork Colossus. In Legacy, it's in the new Simulacrum Affinity deck. Meanwhile, in Vintage, you see it in Jewel shops. But Commander is a big reason for the price spike you see here too. Simulacrum Synthesizer has been in a few decks, including Urzalord High Artificer and Iron Man Titan of Innovation, but now Aether Drift is making this a more sought after card in Commander too. First, some players want to add it to the Aether Drift Living Energy Commander deck, while others are putting in fresh builds around the front-facing Commander from there, Saheeli Radiant Creator. The Commander deck that is really pushing Simulacrum Synthesizer though is around a card from the main set that is Mendicant's Core Guidelight. Up 7 spots this week to number 3, Primeval Titan. The Magic 2011 copy up $11.64 to $24.87, that's an 88% increase. The Magic 2012 copy up $11.93 to $24.93, that's a 92% increase. The Modern Masters 2015 copy goes up $13.60 to $27.72, that's a 96% increase. The Iconic Masters copy up $14.50 to $27.49, that's a 112% increase. And the Time Spiral Remastered copy goes up $20.76 to $34.83, that's a 148% increase. Even though Modern has changed a lot, the Amulet Titan build featuring this card is still performing extremely well. In fact, those builds came in first place a week ago at the Regional Championship and the Star City Games Modern 10K in Portland. And that's part of the reason Prime Time is spiking. You also see Primeval Titan and Azusa Lost but Seeking 1v1 Commander decks, but you know where it doesn't show up? Regular Commander, because it's banned there. That's right, this is also jumping in part because of the speculation around potential Commander unbannings. I think this is one of the more realistic specs as something that could be unbanned in higher power Commander brackets, but we'll see. Number 2, Goblin Lore. The Ultimate Masters copy up $1.61 to $3.30, that's a 95% increase. The Starter 1999 copy up $4.20 to $7.98, that's a 111% increase. The Jumpstart one up $4.48 to $6.32, that's a 243% increase. The one from the list up $4.67 to $6.62, that's a 239% increase. And the Portal Second Age copy goes up a whopping $45.76 to $74.99 for a 157% increase. It's been a while since we've seen this card on the Market Watch, but it's back in a big way. The price shift between copies is a little inconsistent since some copies are more scarce than others online, but one thing's for sure, the format behind the spike is modern. There's a new version of the Hollow 1 deck performing well in the format this week thanks to the arrival of a new card from Aether Drift. The build includes 4 copies of Marauding Mako, and of course 4 copies of Goblin Lore. We'll have to see how the deck performs going forward as the meta prepares for it, but right now it's doing well. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Tilley Academy, up $120 in a cent to $300. That's a 67% increase. This reserve list card does see some vintage play in several decks, even though it is restricted there. It's in Jewel Shops, Sphere Shops, Luris Paradoxical Outcome, Raker Shops, Regular Paradoxical Outcome, Esper Tinker, Underworld Breach, and Painter. But again, there is more to the story. Tilley Academy is, you guessed it, banned in Commander. Some are specking that it could become unbanned for higher power Commander brackets. I don't know about this one. I realize that Gaia's Cradle is legal, and Gavin Verhey said they don't plan on banning that, but unbanning this? I'm not so sure, but I guess time will tell. And that will finally do it for our 2-part Magic the Gathering Market Watch this week. I don't plan on normally doing 2 parts, but this week was just so extreme with the market changes and they were happening so fast. I thought this is a better way to get you up to the date information. Next week, hopefully if things settle down, I'll be able to do one market watch and some other type of video. I would like to do another Commander deck tech if we can pull that off, so stay tuned. Until next time though, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day.
Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.